Good, Baza YouTube, 6-Foot Hacks here. Happy guys, today week 7 of Pokemon 4 Glory Season 2. We are taking on the creator of P4G, the homie, the Bay Cow A coach of the Miami Donphans. His channel link and stuff are going to be down below in the description for you guys to go check out. If you are excited for this battle, make sure to hammer arm that like button down below and let me know what you thought about the battle in general. Now, I do want to quickly apologize for this not being live recorded. Two main reasons. One, there was just a lot of background noise going on during this video and during the moment of this battle, I mean. And second, this is the one aspect of draft leagues that I just absolutely hate. It's that matchup where your opponent literally just has a god tier matchup against you. If you want to know more about this matchup, you guys can check out the team voting video, which a link to that will also be down in the description with Kyle's link and a link to P4G, as well as two interviews I did, one being with Squimpy and one being the P4G interview in general. Now, this should have been uploaded obviously the week before last, but Kyle and I couldn't play, so we're playing now during the bye week, which is why it's being uploaded at this current moment. But the main issue going into this battle is that there was really no good combination of 6 Pokemon that I could bring that Kyle literally couldn't deal with. Funny enough, he brought the exact 6 Pokemon I mainly expected him to bring, and these exact 6 Mons literally deal with any combination of 6 Pokemon I could have potentially brought to this battle. So going into this game, Scolipede, absolutely terrifying. If it's Adamant Life Orb and my Jellicent dies, I literally have no switch into that monster. Aurora Bell being set up is going to be absolutely detrimental to me, because then that allows potential Combine Suicune to set up, or potential SD Absol or SD Scolipede as well. So really have to watch out for Aurora Bell. Dugtrio can trap my entire team except for Mega Aerodactyl, which is really good because I may be able to scout out to see what kind of set Dugtrio is. Suicune, as long as I don't lose Jellicent and I don't lose Tangrowth, I should be able to deal with Suicune accordingly. Then Mega Absol, depending on if it's SD or a mixed set, will determine on how I can deal with it. And then Porygon 2, if I'm able to Toxic it or knock it off and I don't lose Cobalion, I should be able to deal with it accordingly. If I do lose Cobalion, still being able to Toxic it or knock it off will be more than enough for me to potentially stall it out and eventually beat it 1v1. But going into this matchup, my dedicated lead was definitely going to be Mega Aerodactyl, because it really paired up well against everything he has typically led with. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get this started. So I mainly expected him to lead off with the Alolan Ninetales or his Mega Absol or his Dugtrio, which again, Mega Aerodactyl can actually straight OHKO all 3 of those, borrowing that Ninetales and Dugtrio aren't Focus Sash, and that for some reason Mega Absol is a very bulky set. But he ends up leading off with the Scolipede, which is absolutely amazing, because I'm gonna stay in here and I know that I can live 1 Life Orb Aqua Tail. The maximum damage Adamant Life Orb Aqua Tail to Mega Aerodactyl is 97%. So I'm gonna risk it here and go straight for the Aerial Ace, as he doesn't protect, but he turns out to have the Focus Sash. Not only does he have the Focus Sash, but he has the Toxic Spikes. And the reason why this is paused is because this is actually really huge. First off, I managed to get rid of Scolipede essentially. Scolipede being a lead hazard set is not as scary as it would be if it was a Swords Dance set or just an offensive Adamant Life Orb 3 attack set. But I did not at all expect him to bring Toxic Spikes on his Scolipede, which means I have literally nothing to get rid of these Toxic Spikes, which means every member of my team except for Cobalion and my Aerodactyl are going to be toxic on the switch-in, and that could be very detrimental to me, because that's going to be 12% damage that he's going to be getting off on my Pokemon every single turn. And This turn, I do expect him to just go for the Endeavor. Typically, Sash Lead Scolopedes do have Endeavor. If he had the Aqua Tail, it would have done less damage, so I would have much rather like to see that. But he does Endeavor. I'm able to knock him out. As he brings in the Dugtrio, I just expected him to try to either get up rocks or go for the Sucker Punch. But it turns out that he's choice Scarfed because he's able to outspeed my Mega Aerodactyl, and that's great information for me to know because now I don't have to worry about this being Groundium Z Dugtrio, and the fact that Dugtrio Scarfed actually makes it a lot easier for me to play around, as I'm going to bring in my own Scarfer in the form of Garchomp, and expecting him to want to pull the switch out here, I'm going to go for the Stealth Rocks. There was literally no reason that he should have stayed in with Dugtrio when Dugtrio does not knock out Garchomp with the Shadow Claw, and in return, I beat Dugtrio 1v1. So him switching out there was the correct play for him to have made. As I'm able to get on my Stealth Rocks, that's going to be really good because now I will consistently get residual damage on him every time he's switching in and out, and most importantly, I will be able to wear down that Alolan Ninetales so it doesn't get up Aurora Bell too many times. So as he brings in the Porygon 2, he gets a special attack boost, which I did not expect, so I'm going to make the safe switch into my Jellicent in hopes that a Thunderbolt, even at +1, will not be doing entirely too much damage to me, because I really don't want to switch directly into my Cobalion this early on in the battle. So I am able to get off the Toxic on the Porygon 2, and that's absolutely amazing because now I don't even have to go for the knockoff on this Porygon 2 to be able to beat it with my team, and now I have other answers to beat it as well, because now I don't have to just rely on Cobalion's close combat. So it turns out that he's got the Charge Beam and not the Thunderbolt, and that's really good for me because he is going to be doing less damage to me, unless of course he does get the 70% chance to raise his special attack, which honestly I think that's a lie. I've seen Charge Beam miss more than it raises your special attack, and it only has a 10% chance to miss. So I'm gonna recover here, then expecting him to go for another Charge Beam, I'm gonna switch into my Crocodile in hopes to be able to rack up the toxic damage and then potentially go for a knockoff, or maybe even go for a Brick Break if he feels like switching out directly into his Alolan Ninetales. But he himself switches into Alolan Ninetales as I brought in Crocodile. Thankfully, this Crocodile is a very Spadef bulky Assault Vest set, so I am guaranteed to live any one hit that this Ninetales wants to go for. There's also the chance that he is going to expect me to just switch out. Either way though, I'm going to stay in here and I'm going to go for the Brick Break, hoping that he would go for the Aurora Veil, but he does end up making the aggressive play and going for the Blizzard as I get off a decent little 20-25-ish percent, which is really nice. And at this point, my Crocodile is entirely too low for me to have too much use for it, so I'm just gonna stay in and be aggressive and go for the Brick Break again, as thankfully he does expect me to switch out and he is gonna try to go for the Aurora Veil. Unfortunately though, I get a little lucky here and I get a crit, and I am very positive that crit did matter in the sense that this Ninetales would have been outside of Stealth Rock's range, which means he would have been able to switch it out, bring it in one more time, and potentially try to get up the Aurora Veil again later in this battle. If that scenario had popped up, my best bet was to try and play around this Ninetales and try and stall out the Aurora Veil turns, although I'm not entirely too sure how game-changing that crit really was, because there's so many different scenarios that could have occurred if he was not critted and he did live and save the Ninetales. Unfortunately though, I did get the crit, and I will not be upset about that because that is very helpful to me in this matchup, now not having to worry about the Aurora Veil. So I've already got rid of the Scolipede. I no longer have to worry about Aurora Veil, and now the biggest threat that he's got left is that Suicune. So I'm able to revenge kill the Ninetales as he brings in the Porygon 2. I'm expecting him to just want to go for the Ice Beam. Even if he does want to Charge Beam, my Cobalion can still easily live a hit and follow it up with a close combat. I am Adamant Max Attack, and this is a very physically defensive Porygon 2. Like, as long as he wasn't max defense, max HP with the Violite, that close combat should have knocked out that Porygon 2. But judging for how much damage that did, and after checking the cup, that has got to be a close to max defense and max HP of Violite Porygon 2. Thankfully, on the second close combat, I get the roll in my favor. I think the damage output to max defense and max HP Porygon 2 was about 52 to like 60-ish%, around that range. So as long as it didn't get absolute min there, I would have been able to knock him out. As he brings in the Dugtrio, it turns out that unless he is adamant and gets a max damage roll on Earthquake, I can actually still live this Earthquake at -2 defense thanks to the Shucka Berry, and I'm able to chew the hit, and in return I will be able to knock out this Dugtrio, which is really good for me because now I don't have to worry about this thing potentially trapping my Jellicent, which is absolutely amazing because I 110% need Jellicent to ensure that Suicune does absolutely nothing in this battle potentially, unless he does have some type of coverage move to hit my Jellicent. So in comes the Mega Absol. I don't want to potentially give him a free Swords Dance, so I'm just going to go straight for the close combat as it reveals to have the Ice Beam, which is a little bit annoying because this means I may have to waste the Yache Berry on my Tangrowth against this Absol instead of potentially the Suicune if that scenario comes up. Thankfully though, I do have Scarf Garchomp, which will be able to live a Sucker Punch, and the combination of Rough Skin and Earthquake is guaranteed to knock out the Mega Absol, but he does make the safe play in bringing in the Suicune. I did kind of expect him to make this play, but I really could not risk switching in to anything against the Mega Absol if he did for some reason stay in. Plus, by me getting off this damage on Suicune, I'm able to tell that this is a very defensive Suicune as opposed to an offensive set, which is really nice. So now this means that my Jellicent should have a much easier time beating this 1v1, because if he is Calm Mind with like HP Electric or something, that means he may not have the rest. So that's good information for me, as I'm going to switch directly into my Tangrowth. There was two main reasons I brought in Tangrowth. One, because the double out with me switching into Jellicent was entirely too obvious, and two, if you wanted to go for the potential substitute, Tangrowth can still break the substitute even after one Calm Mind, and then from there I could potentially Leech Seed the Suicune as he went for a second Calm Mind to try to get out of range of where Giga Drain does break a Calm Mind Suicune substitute. But I do manage to catch him on the switch into the Absol. What this allows me to do is guarantee live any one hit and get off some very needed damage with Giga Drain, putting him in range of where I will be able to knock him out with my Tangrowth again. And because I need the Regenerator HP to be able to live another potential special attack coming from this Tangrowth, from the Absol, I'm gonna sack off my Garchomp, giving me enough HP to where I can live a potential max special attack Fire Blast if he was max special attack and did have the Fire Blast. But I don't think he was max special attack because that Ice Beam didn't do entirely too much damage. So I am able to knock out the Absol, and at this point his last Pokemon is the Suicune, which in theory should not be able to beat the combination of my Tangrowth and my Jellicent, although I don't have any information on the Suicune besides the fact that it's a very defensive set, judging from how little damage the Earthquake did to the Suicune on the switch-in. So in comes the Suicune. I'm gonna switch out here because I don't want to get knocked out by the Ice Beam if he may have it. So by bringing in my Jellicent, I can take the Ice Beam, and then because he is a more defensive set, I am running a lot of speed creep on this Jellicent to potentially outspeed a defensive Suicune. So from there I can go for the taunt, stop him from Calm Minding, or still potentially going for substitute, as I will be able to outspeed him here thanks to the fact I am running a lot of speed again, and I will be able to stop him from potentially boosting or resting. But he goes for the Sleep Talk, which automatically tells me he's got Rest, Sleep Talk, and Scald. His final move is either going to be a coverage move, Calm Mind, or potentially Roar, which I thought it would be Calm Mind honestly. And at this point he told me that it was basically good game because his only offensive move on Suicune is actually Scald, and my Jellicent has Water Absorb. I outspeed this Suicune and I can just taunt it every turn after taunt ends to stop him from potentially trying to rest and maybe stall me out here. But I know Kyle, even if it came down to it, I don't think he would have tried to PP stall me because he's not that type of player. So thankfully all the speed creep I had on my Jellicent in this battle really came in clutch here, because I will be able to easily 1v1 this Suicune. And after the second taunt, the toxic damage will put Suicune in range of where I can safely bring in Tangrowth after this next turn of toxic. A Giga Drain will definitely knock him out, and he will still be taunted, unable to go for the rest to try to be brought back up to full HP. So thankfully, the combination of Speedy Jellicent and Tangrowth here were enough to deal with Suicune. Again, that crit on Alolan Ninetales really did suck for Kyle, but as I mentioned, I don't know if it was entirely game changing. Honestly, it might have been, it might have not, and just, yeah, that is Pokemon sometimes. Either way though, very good game to my boy Kyle. Definitely go check him out. Again, channel link down below. And if you guys again would want to know exactly more about what I meant of him having a godly team matchup in, or draft matchup in general in this matchup, I said that too many times, but yeah, the team building video is in the description. I explain everything there in further detail. So with that being said, guys, hopefully y'all did enjoy, and I will see you all tomorrow. So later, everybody. And next week when we take on a returning coach, I'll leave that spoiler free for you guys. So yeah, later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in a knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion, but when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.